it was this tag lists row, right?
Yeah, great.
Tags list row. Tags list row? That sounds like wrong English. Container registry. Okay. So we have format date. We have a published date. We have a published time. And yeah, please ask questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, so there's three there: published date, published time, but published date has the ISO date. So one of the things we're going to be careful here is sometimes when we format to ISO, it's because that's the format that the backend requires the information to be in. So we want to be careful with those ones, right?
Yes, exactly.
Extra careful.
Extra careful. Just a different level of care.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, and I mean, we had that open earlier. You can actually see that if you go to details and if you click these three things, this is the thing that we're looking at.
Okay, great. Just for learning purposes, can you explain how you found this page from?
Sure.
Yeah.
Experience. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just looked at the file path and it says packages and registries, container registry, explorer, components, details page, tags list row. I'm familiar with this feature
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of that I have used it before. And if there is something, in the package registries, there is not that many pages that in the container registry. There are a few settings pages, and there's this. And just looking at these things, I was like, hey, let's
Yeah,
have a
it
look at
looks
it.
like a tag list.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
so yeah, looks like a tag list. And then actually I was confused for a second because that date here is already using the new date formatters.
Okay.
And this one is using the one. So the
Right.
first thing that I don't get, who speaks like this? This is not English. Publish to image
Publish
repository
to
add-on. Add-on?
hmm.
Is this, do we do this for a reason? Or could we just say publish to the registry add and
Right.
then have like the full date, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Because in the end, what this is, like, I wonder why a person has chosen like this format
Mm-hmm.
over another format, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. And I mean, we can look at the we can look at the actual code how it looks when we do something different. And this is actually why I'm like why the Epic says audit, because
Mm.
one might need to try to understand why this is written like that,
Yeah, it's a really good point.
because for me personally it would just be equivalent if it says, hey, this was published on 17 April 2024, 13 12 27
Mm.
CEST. So essentially if it were saying
Mm.
this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, that's like, yeah,
And it's in the tooltip.
yeah. By the way, this is also pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No, it's also if I were to change my locale. Let us do that. So to show the power why this is so powerful.
Okay. Sorry,
Uh,
I had a question before that.
yeah.
You said y- you've you said you wonder why. Sorry, you said the reason why you said audit is because you want to try to understand why is it this way and what way
Yes.
could it be better.
Yes.
If you were an external contributor, how would you how would you ask that question? Like, I mean, the way you would do it is you comment on the issue itself, right? And you would ask this question and hopefully tag some of us. But um,
Yeah.
but what like what information would you want in that question? Would you think about, oh, okay, well, like here are two options that we could do it. Which one would you like? Or would you say more like why is this the way it is? Like how do you ask
Yes.
that question?
So this is a really good example. You know what we're gonna do? We're going to create one of these issues, right? Like we can create one of these issues. Um, and there are two ways. There's obviously the way that is like I'm asking the question before I do a change, but often enough for me personally to understand what's going on, I need to do a change, right? I need to do a change in order to understand uh, how it all works together, right?
Okay.
So you can also raise an MR. I mean, you can walk through the different options that you have by
Mm,
yourself,
mm,
um, and be like, hey, these could be the different results, and you offer the person to choose from. You can be, this is the status quo. This is what I think is the best solution. We might have the other solutions, but here's why I think it's the best solution, right?
yeah, that's great.
And then the person can say, oh no, we have this legal requirement that whatever, right? Yeah.
And you do that in the merge request. So
I
you're going to pick which one you want to implement that, put it in a merge request, and then in the merge request say, I'm changing this. This is why.
If it's not too much effort, like if it would require a larger effort because you're seeing, for example, a pattern and you would need to
Mm,
change it in 27 files, I'd rather discuss it first. But
yep.
if it is a localized change that you have, like for example, this one, I think this sentence might not be used in more than one other place, maybe, right? So just for example, resolving that split, right? Another thing that you could do, and this is the power of Git, right?
Mm.
Um, you could go to blame, which I think is not aptly named, and it should be praise.
Always praise.
Uh, and now you can say update UI to use the published at field. Okay, so you have this MR that you have this commit that was changed. Okay, so here you can see that the person changed like whatever, but they didn't actually change uh, the formats are the same. They just use a different
Right.
date.
I see.
Cool.
Yep.
So now we can hop back in time.
Mhm. So from knowing that, we can sort of make an assumption that says, like, it just stayed the way it was. So
Yeah. So you can see here. Here's a fixed time formatting on. Okay. Cool. This also just changed from. That's funny. This changed from US time without AM PM to whatever. So now let's.
what is capital? What is the difference that capitals do?
Oh yeah. So in the legacy time formatting functions, they are not locale aware. So little h's are AM PM. Capital H's are 24-hour based hours. So this one is actually false or completely wrong because it would say, hey, this was changed at 4:09, but you don't know if it's the 4 in the morning or the 4 in the afternoon, right?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. It seems like maybe this commit was the one that introduced it originally. Okay, let's see. No, it wasn't. Let's go back in time. Like that's the cool thing about Git. We just go back in time. Um, where is our time? Oh, oh, there it is. Add details row component. So this seems to be the one that introduced the time. So yes.
So
So
one question here, like we're viewing the commit at the moment. If
yeah,
we wanted to view the merge requests, sometimes I just can't find it.
yeah. And I know this sucks. Uh, Yes.
Sometimes it just it's
No, like sometimes the problem is okay. Sometimes the problem is a little bit tricky, like in the commit history.
mhm,
Finding the actual merge request, I sometimes look then who authored it, and just look for try to find the merge request manually. Um,
okay.
Given that this is from 2020,
Yeah.
this might be before we had the OSS split. So, by the way, our short migration video turns into a nightmare.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm glad we're doing this because, yeah, particularly when you're a community member, you're working by yourself, first time,
Yeah,
you run into problems like this, and you just feel like such an idiot. But it's great to know that even even people that work at GitLab find this difficult.
yeah. So we can see that this was from 2020, right? We search by created date. We maybe just order it the other way around.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, this is. I
And the
guess I
reason we're
might.
looking for the merge request is to understand like what is needed in
Yes.
this. But
So
another alternative is to just create it
yeah,
and then tag someone in that team.
yeah, or tag someone who actually changed the line last, right? And be like, hey,
Yep.
can you help me understand? So this was the 7th of July. So we're pretty close. May, June.
I've certainly never done it this way.
I mean, this is the way that I'm always doing it because I'm
Yeah.
trying to understand it. Details row
Yeah.
to containers tag list. There we have the MR, right?
Yep.
And now you can see who created this.
Mhm.
You can see the change here.
Mhm.
And the question would be, this is ready for your X review. Publish to at. You can see that they don't even discuss the date here, right? Like they talk about
Mm.
other things. They talk about other things. They talk about other things. You can go to the
Yep.
changes tab,
Mhm.
and then in the changes tab can maybe look if someone had a discussion
Mm.
on the time.
Okay.
They,
Right. Great.
they did other discussions. Um, they used they have like this published details row text, which probably comes from this.
Yeah.
And there's no discussion here. So my assumption is that at the time, maybe we could dig deeper. We could look into the issues. We could look into epics, into EX designs. But this is like 4 years ago. My assumption is that the person just did whatever they felt best, right?
Okay. And
Um,
an important point there is we could keep looking forever, but it's more efficient to
do the
create
change.
the merge request, see if there's any problems.
Yeah, especially as a community contributor, I would say like you looking at this and say, hey, this could be better. I want to make it better. If you have a good reason for doing the split between time and date, please come and tell me, and
Right.
we figure the next step out, or we close the merge request, or we just go forward and make it better, right?
Yep.
Um, so um, yippee so we can now start my GTK start. We can now start my code.
Mm.
I'm as
Yeah,
the guy.
it's good even to show like GTK. We all have problems on GTK. Sometimes
Yeah,
it
it probably is because I updated my system the other day. Something. But yeah. So actually, so my audit of this is, hey, I think the time because I'm not an English native writer, but I would say image publish to repository add on is not
yeah.
proper English, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, and I would say that I would make the call here to be like published. I would probably, publish date time, change this to publish date time. I would remove this one.
Yep.
I'm going maybe ahead here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would do is I would, publish date, uh, formatted. That sounds like a good name. And I would be like locale date format as date time full because it includes the seconds, it includes this time zone, and format this publish date. Cool.
We don't need to say the format because
We
it's
don't need
already
a second
defined.
format.
Yeah.
We go in, we go here and say, hey,
So this, what we're looking at is a like on line 237 GL printf. So we're just printing a sorry, string print, right?
yeah,
Is 237. So then what we're doing is we're like this template repository path. Like, why would this be in here? How does this work? Why would it have a template time? That's not in the sprintf, right?
okay, so this is a translatable string,
Yep.
and the formatted time string we introduced. The formatted, so this could be translated, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this actually in English it's just this string, and in German, for example, it might be which is time äh, veröffentlicht in, I don't know, and then uh, image, I don't know, image image repository would probably stay the same. uh, Image repository update time
Time.
repository path, right? So this would be maybe the German version,
Yep.
veröffentlicht. And so you can see that these placeholders, whatever we format up here,
Mm,
would end up in these placeholders.
okay,
And
that makes sense.
um, and so and so yes, and so this in a view template, this is a way to define, hey, because we actually want some formatting, use repository path should be replaced with whatever is in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
With this
Yep.
variable. And so my thing is I would maybe be like at time, and then how did we call it? I forgot. Memory is bad. Publish date formatted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we are golden. So
So
yes,
so we um so it's time, but it sort of should be like date time, right?
could be daytime. Yeah.
But if we change the variable that goes into the string, does that mean we need to redo the translations?
Given, I mean, in this particular case, we need to redo the translation anyhow because we're dropping one of them, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So we can choose what's right, but you're right. If for example, it would have said date, and we would have just replaced date over on the left hand side. If we would have just replaced
Mm-hmm.
date with a better value,
Mm-hmm.
I would have argued that changing the translation might not be worthwhile, right?
Yep.
But you're right here at date time.
So,
Yeah.
but so if we make this change, are we going to have to update all of the translation strings?
Yes. Yes. And so you can see, yeah, this action right now has a lot more impacts because um, I assume that also a lot of tests will change, right?
Mm.
So, or we will need changes. So, and you can see, oh no, okay, we are all good.
If
This is
if
so,
we keep if we keep the variable um, to be the same as what it was, time, for example,
yeah,
no, we still have to redo all the translations. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, because we had the on date, right? Time at time on date.
So what
Um,
happens if we change this master translation?
yeah,
Um, then will the German translation or the French translation, will it be in English until we update it?
yes.
Mm.
I mean, but in this case, I would argue it's potentially a necessary evil. Like,
Yep, sure, fair enough.
yeah,
I just
um,
wondering. Yep.
yeah. And it's actually good because with 1MR we're replacing two uses, right? Of a datetime string and
Yep.
of a legacy formatter with one that's better. Um, Actually, the thing I haven't been done. I mean, let's see if my GDK is there. Let's reload. Yep, looks like it's there. Let's log in. And now I hope I have something with a container registry. Like, whew, because otherwise, whew,
So that's a good point. Um, for to 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 show this on GitLab, we might need on GitLab running locally, we might need a project that has a container registry, and setting that kind of thing up can be extremely
yeah,
time consuming
yeah,
and frustrating. So
yeah,
if you come across something like that, what I would really like you to do is comment on the issue and say, um, I can't reproduce this. This is what I tried, and then we can add notes in. Yeah, but uh, doing the investigation and then commenting like, I did an investigation. This is what I found. Please, please, please give us this information. It's super useful work. Yeah. Don't just move on and find another one.
yeah. How
But
to?
let us know you had trouble with it. And if you had trouble with it,
I mean,
everybody else had trouble
or
with it.
maybe do it the other way around. Like, if you have an issue and see a file, try to find where the file is used. And if you've been able to find it, try if you can get to it in your GDK quickly. And if you can't, or you need to enable like 7 million features that need X or Y, don't bother. And maybe leave a
But when we
comment.
say don't bother, please leave a comment for
Yes.
other people, but particularly because this sort of issues are designed for community. So please leave a comment for someone else.
But otherwise, often with features, like for example here,
Uh-huh.
um, we have here's the container registry and the GDK, right? And uh, it has like a bunch of how to set up things, right?
Mm.
Now I'm a little concerned because I would really love to show the container registry, but I don't need the actual data, right? Like I don't need proper packages because I want just to know how it looks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would now how do you call it? In German we would say it would it would be too much for this video, me trying to configure this thing in order to review it locally. So the thing that I now would be doing is I would try to find the tests for it because for me that's enough evidence for now. And I would, later on in the MR review, maybe try to uh, try to get the screenshots, because, or if I were a community contributor, I was like, hey, I changed this, I think this makes sense, I think this is how it would look like, because it's just a sentence you changed. I wasn't able to get the screenshots locally, please help, is also a
Yep.
completely valid response, especially
100%.
if you're able to fix the tests, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
it's really great.
yeah, let me copy the path. Yarn run jest minus watch, and then we do this one file, and let's see, it probably should have some failures now, hopefully. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you can see, instead of at whatever UTC,
Mm.
right now this is the failure. Yes, cool. Oh, that's actually funny, because we probably should change the language in the thing again. Where is it? On.
Sorry, can you show the test again?
Yes. So the test says, before it was, published to test Rails image repository at on, and now it says published to the on November 3rd at, and so on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Before it was saying
But
at.
that's correct, right? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Yep.
So we will copy paste this. I will just copy paste this and fix it in the
Mm-hmm.
tests. So this is the spec. At. Cool. So is this the one? This the third? Yeah, this is the third. On November 3rd.
Yep.
And then we have also November 5th. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
On.
Great.
Yes. And now all that's left is create a new branch. Lipod. Use modern date formatting in
There's an
registry.
extra R in date. Not an extra.
Data. Cool. Nice. Now we would, there is this nice command, prettier, so we could git status. We do git add, because these are the 3 files where we expect changes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Add,
Mm-hmm.
and spec. Then we can also run this command. Wait. Prettier. Where is it? Yes. So we have ESLint and Prettier on a project. So we can run both of them with these commands. And ESLint will check that everything is all right. And Prettier will make the text pretty. So we can check again what it made different. So we were missing a semicolon. And in the table that we've just changed, it made the table wider.
Yep.
Cool.
And just to say here, like, so I use VS Code for everything, and VS Code would automatically run prettier on save, and the linting, which also checks to make sure that your code is
Yeah.
correctly formatted, it will automatically run when you try to push it anyway. So it, just to say that depending on your developer environment, that might be a little bit different. I haven't used Git in command line for ages either. I just use it in
Sorry.
VS Code. It's so great.
Use
That's
modern
so good.
use modern date formatting in container registry detail view. Before this change, texts were saying. So what were they saying before? Let me just revert this change real quick locally. Oh no!
You're
What did I?
adding this to the commit message.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is the wrong project. GitLab. What did I do? See, sometimes I also use a GUI. Discard.
Oh, what is that?
This is fork, which is a nice Git GUI. I copied the wrong one. Geesh, but I can just use fork to get like the old and the new. So, I mean, it's good that we have the spec here. So we can, for example, say text we're saying, and I would say, something like, okay, like this, publish to the image registry is not important,
Yeah.
which doesn't sound like proper English and is not locale aware user locale aware. We replace it with the more modern formatter which respects user settings better. It
And by
now,
putting this in the commit message, will this then appear in the MR when you push it?
yes.
That's cool.
Also,
I didn't realize.
I'm like an old person, so I like properly written commit messages.
Yeah. But
Cool.
yeah,
So this
just
is
to
not
be
problematic because it's a little too long and it will complain. So let me just do this a little bit differently. So we make this a quote. Cool. And now I have my commit. I do my git push. I do whatever this tells me. I usually have shorthands for this, but I wanted to show what one might do.
yeah, it's great.
Now ESLint and Prettier run again. And it actually will scream at us, because we forgot something. We forgot to update the translations. And it actually tells us what to do. Try running this.
Great.
So we do this.
And what that does is you need to run it after you update any translation file.
Yeah, or any translation, yeah. But it's really good because now we have the changes. We expect those changes, and so we can be commit mn minus a, same commit message, git push, boop beep boop beep boop. Yeah, this now should take a second, but only one or two. It's crazy if you think about it, and this is why I really call these things audit, because we just spent an hour on one file, right? And we have about, I don't know, 200 matches, right? And it's more like, and I really don't blame the people who created these, because at the time the new tooling didn't exist, right? Yeah, but now you can see, because we've written this nice commit message, we actually get the nice message
Right.
here.
Sorry, I
Um,
just wanted to make a point on there. Um, we did spend quite a lot of time doing what feels like a small change, but this is really important, particularly at a company the size of GitLab, because um, this particular merge request is going to be reviewed at least twice. So we'll have two front end people and then a third time, most likely for a UX review. So if you invest more time in being more accurate during writing your merge review, it saves us a lot of time overall. So it might feel slow and frustrating, particularly if you're coming from working on a much smaller project, but it actually saves a lot of time.
Thank you. I couldn't have put it better. Yeah. Cool. Milestone is this milestone. 71. You would probably have put better screenshots here
Mm-hmm.
or screenshots here, but I'm not able to get it locally in my GDK.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but one of the things that I really wanted to show you on this page, the power of it.
Mm.
Right now, my browser is set to my browser is set to use British English, and or if that's not available, United States English. If that's not available, and now let's add proper English. Um,
It's gonna
and
be the same as British.
and now you can actually see that. Oh, where is it again? Container registry. So right now with the British English, it tells me, hey, CEST, Central European Standard Time.
Mhm.
But if I have my browser in Aussie English,
Mm.
it will actually, for example, first of all, it chooses AM PM, right?
Mm.
And it will show me, hey, this was at 1:12:27 p.m. GMT +2, because the usual Australian might not know what CEST is, or
So
and
CEST is a UK English thing.
it's a European thing for Central European Standard Time.
Ah,
Or another example, for example, if my computer were now in Australia and I would have like the Australian time zones in my computer, it would, for example, show, I don't know, what is the time zone in Australia? Like
yeah, right.
Eastern, do you have Eastern Standard Time in Australia?
Yeah,
So
East.
it would show me, I think, AEST, like Australian Eastern Standard Time. And
Yeah,
if I
right.
set my browser locale to give me American English, and I would be in New York, it would show me Eastern Standard Time. Or if I'm in what's the face um, like on the West Coast, it would show me
Hmm.
Pacific Standard Time, right?
Okay. Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
and now we can actually see the power of the thing, because
Mm.
this behaves like I expect and how I like, because I like my Australian English. I like AM PM for whatever reason, and
Yep.
this is just weird to me, right?
Yeah. It
Yeah,
makes sense. Yep.
yeah.
Great.
So let's quickly choose wrong English again, and everything will be 24 hours for me. Yeah,
Great.
yeah. So that's it. This is the
So
MR.
just a couple other things in the MR. If you
Yeah,
create an MR as a community contributor, uh, it'll automatically be assigned to one of the engineers at GitLab to add the labels that you saw Lucas do. So you don't have to add the labels. And if you get stuck, you can always at the GitLab bot here directly and ask for help.
yeah. Um, I really love this run through, James. I just wonder if we should record one shorter version where it's a little bit more straightforward and be like, hey, this
I like.
is straightforward one, and this is one where you need to dig a little.
Nah, I like this.
You like this?
People can always skip ahead. It's easy enough.
And they can watch in double speed, right? Like,
Double speed.
as long as they hit like and subscribe and like, they can. watch it in double speed.
No, it's really important to know that like at GitLab things move super slow compared to a small project. Um, there's a lot of process around merge requests. There's a lot of complexity. Sometimes things are a lot harder than they seem. They usually are. And this is important to know. And it's just important not to feel shit about yourself when it happens. You know, like we all feel like the worst engineer in the world. It's not you. It's just a
You're
different
saying that.
page.
I feel
I mean,
great.
I do.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I completely get that, right? And this is, I think these seem great and easy on the surface because hey, you just replace like format date whatever with local format date whatever. But it's it actually, I mean, they're good in the sense of that the actual change is easy, but they kind of teach you in the GitLab project how to navigate history, how to navigate context, and how to get like an MR review done, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, this might be a little bit special instance because we combined two of those findings into one, into like we changed a little bit the logic on how it works. Um, but yeah, I think otherwise it is should be pretty. There might be a few that are way more straightforward, and there might be a few that are like super complicated, right? Because dates are hard. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Great.
Oh,
We'll call it there. We'll stop the stream. Thanks for joining.
yeah.